Welcome to Subscription Prescription, the podcast where you get the information you need to scale your subscription program. Hello and welcome to another dose of Subscription Prescription. I'm your host, Matthew Holman. This is the podcast where we try to help you figure out everything related to D2C subscriptions. On this week's dose, we're going to be talking about how to make the most of your subscription app, how you can get help from them, understanding features that are coming out, essentially using that as a big resource for how you can grow your subscription program. Now, the inspiration for this dose really comes from a lot of conversations that I have with other brands that are telling me about certain features that they're seeing or reasons that they're buying a certain subscription app when they're looking at the marketplace. And really kind of wanted to dive into where I think some of the strengths and weaknesses come when we're using different subscription apps as a resource. And so kind of what I want to start here with is really just a general maybe gripe or complaint. And I'm sorry if this hits on the nose for you, but certainly a good reason to be listening to this podcast to help understand this a little bit better. But at the core of your program, you have to be the owner as the brand as of the owner of your subscription strategy. It is your responsibility to drive the strategy, to understand what you want to offer and why. And once you get into the how and the tactics, that's where resources really related to your subscription app can come in handy. I'll just use kind of like a quick example of this is, a lot of subscription apps are rolling out new portal features all the time. So there might be a new way to make a secondary offer inside a cancellation flow inside a subscriber portal. Like somebody says no to the first offer, you give them a second offer, right? That's a tactic. That is something you can do to try to win more subscribers. That is not the overall general strategy of how you're trying to sell and manage subscriptions. So in this example, if your overall strategy is you want to make cancellation as seamless and as quick as possible, then that tactic doesn't make sense because you're adding an additional step or layer to the cancellation process. So when you hear about new tactics, new features, new things that are coming out, you have to have a core strategy in mind and understood so that you can make the right decisions on whether something could fit or be incorporated into your program. Another common question related to tactics and subscriptions comes down to messaging. What kind of notifications are you going to send? Are you going to send an upcoming order notification email, an SMS message? Are you going to send tracking information, all these other things, right? So if you don't have a core strategy in mind, we've talked about this on past episodes about some of the pros and cons of why you would want to send an upcoming order notification email, then you can't get into understanding whether it makes sense to and how you should send those, or if you should send one or two or even more. Okay, so understanding this again, some of our past doses related to the art and science of subscription may be a good place to kind of like go if you're feeling like a little nebulous on how strategy or what kind of strategy should be employing. And the reason I say that is there's kind of like two components to any good subscription strategy. There's an art, some of these best practices, kind of this idea of what you want an experience to be like for your subscribers. And then there's the science piece, which is kind of tactically how we make subtle changes, how we try different things, and we pay attention to like the outputs to see if that actually has a positive impact on the overall health of the subscription program. So again, thinking through all of this, you need to have a core I keep using the word core. So you need to have a strong understanding of strategy of how you're trying to sell and retain your subscribers so that you can leverage your subscription app as a resource in the way that you should. And I want to start like a segue into this kind of a little bit as a cautionary tale. Your subscription app is in the business of trying to create an amazing subscription platform for you and other brands that are using their service. And they're regularly developing features, different aspects, different things and tools you can use and leverage in your program. But they're developing those for a lot of different brands. That doesn't necessarily mean it is the right one for you. And their business is that they're trying to get people to adopt them because they believe they will be helpful. I don't think any subscription app there is like has a nefarious motive to try to get you to buy something you don't ultimately need. However, there is often a disconnect or a little bit of a misalignment with objectives where your software partner is trying to get you to adopt something that they can either charge you more for or that they believe will have a net positive effect on your subscriptions. But if that doesn't align with your strategy and with your priorities, you can often kind of like miss the mark entirely here, right? So again, when new features come out, you need to be looking those through a lens of your strategy and your objectives, and do those enable or hinder those? And if they can enable them, then you should look at implementing those correctly. So just as an example, at a lot of the features that I've seen coming out lately in the subscription space, Recharge has been hyping up big time their new retain package, which has some dunning features in it, some better like retention tools. Stay AI has this punch card feature that's been coming out that allows people to, similar to like a physical punch card, you get buy 5 times, earn a sixth one free. Skio has released a new version 2 of their cancellation portal. Involves like a splash screen where somebody goes to hit the cancellation button, and then you can like have a video or a graphic there that people can engage with before they hit cancellation reasons. So if you're a brand on any of those platforms and you're seeing these features come out, you're probably asking yourself, like, is this something I actually need? What should I be doing here? And you'll have reps from those companies reaching out, either selling or trying to push for the adoption of these features. So I want to talk about that in the nature of like a framework of just thinking through, okay, because it's really easy to jump on something because it seems cool, or say no to something because it seems hard. So we want to have a little bit more logical approach to this, of thinking through, okay, if I know that in my program right now, we're really worried about making sure we do a better job on acquisition, right? Then the retain package from Recharge and maybe the splash screen from Skio probably don't fit into that. So you can just add that as a lower priority item. But the Stay AI's punch card could be something you could advertise as an additional perk to the subscription. And it might make sense to start testing that to try to help with your acquisition strategy, for example. Now, when you're looking at, say, retention, trying to figure out better ways to address cancellation, have a better experience, then, hey, this new splash portal or splash page that Skio is talking about makes a lot of sense. Or, hey, this retain package could be really interesting from the Recharge side. I would caution, though, always looking at these things, if there's cost, there's implementation time. One of the biggest mistakes I see with the clients that I work with and brands that I talk to is that they will start chasing a brand new feature that has come out when they haven't adopted a lot of the other features that already exist on that platform. So, for example, Stay AI has a great like A/B testing feature, that if you aren't like utilizing that, then maybe it doesn't make sense to go after the punch card. They're not quite the same thing. So I'm not telling you not to consider both, but as an idea of, you might not be using features that are already available on the platform. And so it doesn't make sense to go chase the shiny new toy that they're rolling out. Same thing on the retain side for Recharge, that they already have some really great features available within how you can craft your cancellation flows and offers within that customer portal. If you're not utilizing those already, then adding retain to that might not make sense. Or if you're using like Churn Buster as a tool there, it might not make sense to pony up for the retain package because you're already really not doing much as it is. So I want to caution you to not fall into the trap of, I should buy this because we need to do it because it's going to make everything better. If you're not already, it's like signing up for a really premium gym membership when you're not really going to the gym already, right? It's like signing up for that, like, we're going to go run that marathon when we're not running already. I get the psychology behind why people do that because of the commitment piece, but what I often see is just software cost bloat, right? And a misalignment with priorities and a lack of like a plan for how you would go about implementing those things. So if that makes sense, that's why I'm saying is we want to make sure that we're starting with a strategy so that when our subscription partners are releasing information or new features, I should say, and information as well from a reporting standpoint, we can look at that through the lens of understanding what our own priorities are. Okay. If you have questions about those priorities, you can reach out to me, ask me any questions about any new features you're seeing, or if it makes sense for you to implement those. I will say one of the best ways that you can leverage your subscription partners is all of these apps have really great, talented CSMs that are working for them. They're essentially like in the weeds every day using this tool. So one of the other missed opportunities I see for brands is not leveraging that as a resource. And what I mean is is if you're looking at your program and you're saying, hey, we're seeing a drop off in month 2, or hey, we're trying to figure out how to do a better job of addressing cancellations and trying to keep people from canceling. Or hey, an upsell tool? We'd like to get a higher AOV from our existing subscribers. Take those types of questions to your subscription app, to your CSM, your customer service manager, because they're going to be able to show you the different set of tools that are available on on their platform to enable that, right? That's what like help desk and their other like other ways to communicate with them are for, is take questions to them. Hey, we're trying to do a better job here. Do you have a tool that does this? Or have you seen what other brands are doing here? I would say from a strategy perspective, that's a really great question to take to other brands. There are a lot of other like subscription consultants or experts in the space, like myself, like Andrew Rudnick, Brian Stark, and others that you can ask those questions of. But sometimes the strategy questions aren't great for the subscription platforms unless you're talking to somebody who's like, their head of growth, or maybe somebody who's like working has worked with a considerable number of brands and seen different strategies they've implemented. Your CSMs are often better as a tactical resource. Again, just to kind of draw that line in the sand, strategy is usually a higher level idea, plan. Tactics are the specific items or specific things you do to enable that strategy. So, talking to brands about different things they've tried, right? Different tools they maybe have used, different upsell ideas or bundle ideas. You're going to get a lot of positive feedback and very transparent feedback from a brand about what they've been doing and what has worked and what hasn't. But then when you have a tactical question, so for example, if somebody says, hey, we had a really strong success on month 3, we started doing a quick action trigger in our emails to get people to add this one-time item to their subscription. Okay. Now I'm going to go to my subscription app and my CSM there and say, hey, we want to start looking at doing an upsell item. What's the best way to set that up? Are there any tactics or ideas you've seen make that work really well for that? And again, that is when your CSM is going to come back with a list of steps, guides, be able to hop on a screen share and walk you through how to enable those things and make sure that happens really, really well. Okay. Again, I just want to make it clear that you have to own your strategy. That if you take nothing else away from this, well, I'd say maybe just 2 points. The first is, again, that you need to own your subscription strategy. You need to be the one who's thinking through, are we trying to get better at acquisition? Are we trying to improve the retention side of things? Are we trying to improve overall lifetime value of our subscribers through upsells and through better retention methods? You have to own that. You have to have a clear understanding of what you want to do, what you want to offer, and why. And then your subscription platform or app is your partner to help make that possible, right? You should be taking those types of questions. How do I do this better? Or we're trying to enable this for our clients, our customers. How do we do this? That's how you're going to have the most success from building and scaling your subscription program, is being able to accurately own your own strategy, but also leverage the resources that are available to you. Okay, that's it for this week's dose. If you have any questions about strategy or tactics, if there's a new feature that's rolled out on your platform and you're curious about whether it'd be effective for you or not, feel free to send me a message. We can hop on a call and chat through all that, no problem, or leave any questions in the comments as well. And stay tuned for next week's dose. I'm your host, Matthew Holman. This is Subscription Prescription. That's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe so that you can get notified when new episodes come out each week on Tuesdays.